where do county road funds come from? If you can look at the list, you'll see state sources, which I just talked about, contributions from local units, federal sources, service charges, and other. These are the main categories of how counties get additional funding on top of what the fuel tax and the registration fees are gathering or collecting on our behalf. I would like to touch base a little bit on the local contribution. This is important because, as I said earlier, some of your constituents really don't have a good handle on how the county or how the state funds their infrastructure, and that includes your bridges, your culverts, anything that has to do in the right-of-way. We allow the utility companies, communication industry, the internet in our right-of-way now, more prevalent than ever. So they're constantly having to come to us to get an understanding of what the responsibility are to be working in the right-of-way and to be in the right-of-way. That 33 feet was technically set aside for road use and road use only. Over the past, multiple decades, the legislature has allowed those industries to come into the right-of-way at no charge, but they have to get a permit from the county road agencies or the municipalities in order to be in the right-of-way to make sure that it's safe and that they're not overlapping each other, that they're not interrupting services of another group. That's a key component of managing the right-of-way. It's not just roads and bridges.
Ed, how many total things can be in that right-of-way? Got a number?
It depends on how wide the road is. If you got a wider road with full shoulders and you got ditches, we try to keep everybody behind the ditches. We don't want anybody to get disrupted from us either doing improvements to the roadbed itself or the shoulders or the ditch. When we go out there and start digging the ditch out to clean it out, what we don't want is snag a cable and disrupt our service. But you can generally put maybe 3, depending on the depth. Now remember, PSC has the authority to dictate how deep, and you can put your utility or your power source. That's dictated by them. And sometimes we can go 4 feet, sometimes we can just go under the surface, a couple of 6 inches, 12 inches. That's generally the rule of thumb. So you can stack a little bit, but I wouldn't recommend it too much. We try to keep them away from each other.
I didn't express myself well. How many total cables, pipes can be in that right-of-way?
There's
I've heard 14. That's got to be a big. That seems like a big number.
That would be a big number because some of them are already under the roadway. When we do road improvements or reconstruction, and what I mean by reconstruction is we actually take the road down to Mother Earth and start all over. If there's a utility under there, we are going to ask you to relocate it and move it out to the shoulders. That was part of the whole deal of being in the right-of-way. We dictate where you can put your utility. Back in the day, it was common to let them go underneath the roadbed, but I don't want to put down a new section of roadway and have them come in and start digging it up because somebody's got a leak or there's a problem with their utility service. That's a bad thing that happens, and I know it happens all the time, especially in the urban areas. You get a new piece of pavement, there they are digging it up, looking for a leak or something that's going on, some mishap that's happened to the utility. I hope I answered your question to the best of my knowledge.
Well, and that just says, if somebody says 14 and somebody else says 12, they're probably both right.
I think you have to look at what is the original footprint of the roadway first, and then you can determine. And I know a lot of road agencies like to keep all the utilities on one side of the road. And some of them have already, given that up and are wrong on both sides of the road. So it can change from county to county, jurisdiction to jurisdiction. All right, let's talk about local funds. And as I said earlier, contributions include city, village, township contributions, countywide, and special assessments, and county appropriations. The last one I remember doing a direct appropriation was St. Clair, and that was a while back. That was when I first started working for the Road Commission. So that's been a while ago. I've been told that there are other counties that actually do that, and we appreciate anything you can do to help us. And that's part of the one of the things that you have to keep in mind if you want to take over your road commission. That opens you up to helping without any real push from the public on the road funding system. That's going to be a costly endeavor, and there is also a liability endeavor when you take over the road commission. Road commissions are not, do not have governmental immunity. If there's a defect in the roadway and something happens, you are liable for that, whatever, the damage, the death, or the injury to a person. So that's a big plus for you guys to keep that separation between the county and the road commission. They can have the liability. We got limited funds. This is all we get. We don't get anything else. We get federal money, we get state money, and anything else is by the graces of you guys. You're the general public that is willing to pay for more road maintenance or road improvements or job-specific improvements.